How to beat Facebook's ad algorithm and get clients who have money instead of broke coaching clients or wasting all your money on ads that never convert. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. You see, the problem right now that coaches are having is Facebook's made a lot of changes over this last little while, and a lot of coaches who were previously getting clients are getting garbage leads, or they're just getting less clients for the same ad spend, or coaches who are not using Facebook ads yet have been trying small little ads here, and they're just like, this is chaos. I don't know what's working. I don't know what to do. And then you're on social media, you're hearing all these horror stories of Facebook changes and AI and Advantage Plus and this, that, and the other thing. What do you do? So in this video, we're going to talk about how to actually get clients, then the new way to beat Facebook's algorithm changes so that you can start scaling your coaching business. All right. So what I need you to do is, first of all, understand three important things here before we get into it that are problems, because if you don't understand the problem, not going to understand how to fix it. Right. So here's the first problem that you need to understand. As of this recording in 2025, number one, you need Facebook/Instagram, let's call it Meta, period. Okay. You cannot scale a coaching business anymore unless you have a massive following, unless you're some major influencer on TikTok or somewhere. And TikTok's got the worst quality people anyways. But the bottom line is, unless you have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of organic followers on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, it is insanely hard to make it work and to get anywhere near $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 months in your coaching business. Facebook has your people. It's better than the other sources like LinkedIn. It's better than Google. It's better than all those places. So you need to understand it's still and more than ever is the best place to get coaching clients because organic is not working to scale. All right. Number two. Facebook ads are changing, but that's a good thing for coaches who know what they're doing. You see, it is changing and problems are happening and things are going on, but you need to understand now is the best time to get clients using Facebook ads. Number three, what changed? Okay, so let's talk about this. So I've been using Facebook ads now to get coaching clients since about 2013, all right? In fact, I've been doing it before that, but there were other strategies. Pretty much as long as Facebook's had an ad platform, I've been using it to get coaching clients. I've literally probably, that to best of my knowledge, the longest standing coach who teaches this stuff, who's still around teaching this stuff at scale. So here's the thing. Roughly in 2013, Facebook started using targeting, and targeting was 90% of the success and messaging was 10% of the success in order to get qualified coaching clients. Meaning what you had to do is all you needed to do was have good targeting. If you were a business coach, you were targeting, Tony Robbins. You were targeting followers of John Maxwell. You were targeting followers of Forbes magazine or whatever. And if you could figure out the targeting, you were making money. The people coming to you were already pre-qualified because they were following some guru. If you were a weight loss coach, you were targeting the New York Times bestselling authors and getting their followers. And it was like you're pulling their followers into your world. And it was like magic. All you had to do was get the targeting nailed down. And, you had to be somewhat good in terms of your messaging, had to be somewhat on point. But targeting was everything. That worked until about the summer of 2024 when everything started to change. And it became about AI. All right. So let's talk about how to fix this. All right. There's 4 things you need to do. And I'm telling you right now, they all build on each other. So if you leave this video early, you are going to have a lot of problems if you just go try this stuff, okay? Number 4 is the most important, but they build up to it, okay? So the number one way right now that's working is you need to understand, this is a strategic thing first, that the ads manager, as of this recording in 2025, is not designed for coaches by default, okay? We have to customize it. But here's 2 things you need to understand. When you run ads on Facebook to get coaching clients, which is the best place to get coaching clients, you need to understand that you are not paying Facebook on a per-click basis, right? So when you run ads, or if you haven't run ads yet, but you want to, and you hear cost per click, right? Like, how much am I going to pay to get a visitor? How much do I pay to get a visitor? They do not charge you per visitor. No major traffic source like LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, any of them don't charge by visitor. They charge per CPM, which is cost per thousand. No, believe me, that's the only math formula I know. Okay. What does that mean? It means they're charging you every time your ad is showing, not every time somebody clicks on your ad. So Facebook has zero incentive, or Google or YouTube or anybody, to actually send you qualified leads. They just want to get your ads showing. Okay. So when anybody sees your ad, so for example, maybe you've been on Instagram, for example, and you're scrolling and you see your own ad and you're like, oh shoot, I better not click on my ad or I'm going to get charged. You've already been charged. Okay. Every time you've seen it. Now, why do they do this? Because they don't trust us, okay? They believe that if they charge per every time it's showing, they're guaranteed to get paid, versus worrying if some coach has a good click-through rate or a bad click-through rate, okay? So you need to understand that here. You're getting charged for every time it's shown. So even if your ad's getting shown to garbage quality people, not whether it's clicking or not, even if it's shown to the bad quality people, you're getting charged. So we've got to be hyper focused on making sure of that. Number two, you need to understand, okay? Facebook is not having a meeting right now trying to figure out how to make coaches more successful on their platform. You and I are not their clients. Facebook's clients are the major Fortune 500 companies who spend $1 to $2+ million a month. And I know this for a fact that they will build campaigns for those people. So they're basically, the vice president of advertising for some multi-billion-dollar company calls them up and says, we just wired over $1 million. Can you guys build out the campaign, send it to, anybody in America, get us a brand awareness? That's who the ads manager is designed for, because it's simple, it's easy. And so you need to understand that by default, if you follow Facebook's default settings, you are already failing. Okay. And the other problem that coaches are having is they're running ads, and coaches or experts are telling these coaches, just run it longer. Oh, you have terrible data? Keep running it so Facebook can figure it out. They're never going to figure it out, because that's not their goal. Their goal is to figure out who they can show your ads to, whether they're going to click it or not, and who cares? All right. So that's number one. Now, remember, there's 4 things that you need to know to beat the AI. And this is the first thing you need to know is, what the heck is going on? All right. Now, we're going to get to number 2, 3, and 4. But before we do, hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm constantly creating videos. I've spent millions on Facebook ads. I coach a lot of coaches. Some are very, very successful and doing this stuff. So we have tons of data. We know what's going on, and we want to share it with you. And we do that for free here on Facebook and for our community, Skool community members. So hit subscribe so you can get the updates for free. Number 2, there are 3 audiences that you need to understand that we teach our clients and that we commonly will use. All right. So this is the next thing. All right. What are those 3 audiences? The first one is interest group targeting. What's left? So basically this past summer, Facebook pretty much ripped out all the interest group targeting. Okay. Gone. They just pulled it all out, and there's hardly any left, but there's major categories left, like personal development and finance and job titles and stuff like that. Now, here's what you need to realize is that they don't really matter, but here's what we need to do. We need to get your audience down to about 1 million to 3 million people roughly. Why? Think about it. If you're going on the ads platform as a coach and you're starting at $20 a day or something like that, you're in your brand, you don't have any data, you don't have any pixel data, no conversion data. You're not giving Facebook anything to work with. So they're going to go out into your pool of 60 million of your audience of 60 million people. They can't latch on to any data. They don't have any correlation. So they're just going to be like, well, I don't know. We're just going to try over here and then try over here and then try over here, and they can never connect. Does that make sense? Because you're not spending enough money and you don't have enough data. So I see this all the time. We'll look at coaches' ad accounts and I'll hop on Zoom and look at them and stuff like that. And 100% of the time this year that I've seen coaches, all of them have been set up wrong. And the majority of them are running these massive audiences. And like Facebook can't, you're setting it up to fail. So what you need to do is shrink it down to 1 to 3 million. And so we want to just bring it down, get it roughly in that 1 to 3 million. Sometimes under $1 million works, but most times under $1 million it can be too small. Again, it depends on your budget. There's no absolutes anymore. It's really customized. And then we try these 3 audiences. The first one is interest group targeting, where we'll try that. We'll get that layered out. We'll try that. The second group is lookalikes. So if you have a list of people who are customers, if you have a list of people on your email list, if you have whatever subscribers from here or there that you've picked up over the years, you've got LinkedIn connections, all that can be extracted as long as you have about 300 to 400 of them. And then we upload those to Facebook and turn those into a lookalike audience. Sometimes that can work, but you got to make sure it's the right type. We use 1%, 2%, and 5%. Okay. We start with 1%. You got to be careful with this here, because sometimes you can get a false negative off a lookalike audience. And coaches are always like, I tried a lookalike audience and it totally failed. That could be because of the creative. It could also be because of where it went to within that audience. So you got to be careful. And then the third type of audience that works is open targeting. What is open targeting? Let's say you are helping women with weight loss, a very common market. It basically women 45 plus USA, boom, that's it. And we just target them. And that's when you're doing 50 million people. And that's after you get about 1,000 leads, you can start using that targeting. And quite frankly, that's some of the best targeting there is. But you have to remember within the targeting and within Facebook that there are probably, I'm going to say roughly, if you add it all up, 15 to 20 customized settings in the ads manager that need to be customized or unchecked or removed. And here's the thing, Facebook's getting really sneaky. What they're now doing is they are now removing the options to customize in terms of where those buttons are, and they're hiding them. Okay. So you literally have to know the area of the ads manager where they are, and you have to mouse over that area, and magically this edit button will appear, and then you can hit it and you can edit the options, and it's all through the structure. Why are they doing this? Because remember, Facebook's job is to make Facebook money. Okay. They're a public company. And so they think, for a big, like you said, if you're spending $1 million a month and you're a Fortune 500 company, just mainly looking for brand awareness or whatever, I mean, their platform's designed for that, okay? But all these customized things, it kind of screws up their algorithms, and they want it their way. And so we have to customize it all through the audience, through one of those 3 targeting options, and then we have to customize a lot of the settings. For example, coaches have been told, do not use Advantage Plus targeting, which is right, but you got to remember there's 3 places you got to shut off Advantage Plus targeting, okay? Or it'll override your audience settings. You can be targeting women, launch your campaign, all of a sudden you look and it's going to men. Why? Because one of those 3 Advantage Plus audience targeting settings was on, overrode your targeting. So you got to make sure you customize this. Now, the third thing you need to realize in terms of your success with the ads is 95% of your success, and right now, let me say it to you this way: 95% of the success is your ad, okay, and 80% of the success of that is your image. Okay, so if we take 100%, 5% is targeting of everything I just talked about, assuming you have your settings properly organized. And then 90% of the 100%, 95% is your messaging. 80% of that is your image, okay? So here's what you need to understand. Let me give you 4 important points about this. Your ad copy, you must spend 80% of the time repelling the wrong people, not attracting the right people. This is a big mistake coaches are making. They're like, hey, would you like to lose 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds? I'm your person. I got this amazing thing. You just watch my thing, click my thing or whatever. You're just going to get all the wrong people, right? Because and I'll explain why that's a big deal under number 4, which is obviously the most important thing we need to talk about. But your ad must repel people. You must be spending all your time repelling people, not attracting people, okay? You do not want newbies. Newbies are naive. They think they can do it without you. They'll go on ChatGPT. You need the people who they get it. They've been through this. They're like, I get it. I need your help, okay? And so that's what has to happen on your ad. Now, when I talk about the 20% of your attraction must not be aspirational. Okay. And so what does that mean? Repel them and then 20% attract, but make sure that 20% of your ad and your image and stuff like that is not aspirational, meaning that they don't see it and be like, oh, I'm not a multi-six-figure earner who wants to lose weight, but I sure could use their help. This looks really cool, okay? Because then you'll just attract the aspirational people who think your stuff's awesome, okay? Because the bottom line is the image must stop the scroll and subconsciously hook the qualified people while making the unqualified people realize it's not for them, okay? And so that's what you have to do, because number 4, we'll tie this all together here. Number 4 is everything is about the 1% pie slice your ad hits within your audience. Here's why this is such a big deal. When you run your ad, what's going to happen is Facebook's going to use data points on people who click on it, people who register for your stuff, and it's going to feed that data back to your audience, okay, your pixel and all that kind of stuff. We'll simplify it. And then you got to remember, your ad's only going to be shown to maybe 1% of your audience, okay? Maybe, at most, probably 0.5%. So if you've even got this audience of 1 million people and your ad's going to 0.5% of that audience, which is about normal, it's called your frequency rate, and then they're going to start locking into that. They're doing it based on the data points that you're giving it from people who are clicking on it. And it's very reactive. Okay, so for example, we'll have, we don't work with realtors in terms of, we work with coaches who coach people on real estate investing and all that kind of stuff and coach realtors and so on and so forth. But we don't work with local people like accountants, lawyers, realtors type thing. That's just not what we do. We specialize in coaches who coach those people. All right. Now, here's the problem. We'll get, say, a realtor or a lawyer or an accountant sign up for our stuff. All right. And then guess what happens? Next thing you know, that's all we're getting, okay? Because the AI feeds that data back and it goes, oh, they want accountants, lawyers, realtors, or whatever. And then they start finding us those people within our audience. And so we have to reset it so that we get the right people. Okay, are you seeing how this is working? Are you seeing how this is all coming together? It's all about the messaging. It's all about properly knowing how to customize this thing. And it's making sure that we're getting it into the right pie slice of your audience. And once you do that, this thing will work. All right. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to do this. You need to understand the coaches who get this are going to succeed because this is the future. It's moving more and more towards what I'm talking about. And the person who gets this is going to have the most success because you got to realize the majority of coaches are in coaching programs and taking free advice from people who don't even know what they're doing. Luckily, I've been doing this since it began. I've spent as much as $150,000 a month in my own ad account on Facebook ads. So I've evolved with all these changes, and this is what we're seeing is the future. So here's how you can do this. You can just go do this and figure it out yourself, but it's going to be extremely expensive if you just go do this and figure it out. So what we want to do is simply help you. We're going to give you a 15-minute free call. So that a Facebook ad success call to walk you through what you need to do, how you need to process this, give you ideas on what to do if you're thinking about launching your ads so that you can do this properly. Or if you're already doing it, we'll give you some advice and some feedback on some things we're seeing, some data points that you need to look at, some changes you need to make, and so on and so forth. Because listen to me. The same thing that you would tell your coaching clients who want to work with you, I am telling you. The cost of figuring this out on your own is astronomically higher than the cost of a free call for 15 minutes with us, where we're going to help you and give you some free information and show you what to do. There's nothing for sale on that call, all right, at all. Just we're going to give you some feedback. We're going to unlock some free training material that we are normally reserved for clients in our free Skool community, and look at this and kind of give you some detailed custom feedback, because we've worked with pretty much every major category of coaching, of coach and industry in terms of the coaching industry. So we know what the prices that are working. We know what quality looks like, what you need to do for targeting, all these things. And we just want to share it with you. Okay. So book that free call, click the link below. It's in the right below this video in the description, or it's in the pinned comment post, and we're going to give you some free training, some free stuff, help you out, give you some feedback, because at the end of the day, you do not want to trust the most important thing in your business, which is getting leads and obviously clients and sales at scale, to just randomly throwing stuff at the wall and figuring this thing out. Because here's the problem. The problem is false negatives, okay? And what false negatives are, you launch all this stuff and you just have at her. Well, how are you going to know what's not working, right? What happens if maybe your cost per click or your cost per registration's too low, too high, all this stuff like that? Is it in the right segment of the right audience? Is it the right audience? Did the targeting get right? Did you get all the settings right? Did you do what was it that caused it to work, or what caused it to fail? Okay. I remember in 2008, I scaled up an info product, on Google AdWords. Like, I hired somebody to write me an ebook off a site called Elance. I paid him the money and I wrote a sales letter and I started selling it. It was in like some weird niche market, some, like super hobby market. I scaled that thing to like 13,000 a month. Okay. And I was only spending like 2,000 a month on ads. I was making 11,000 in profit. And this was like in 2000, probably 8 or 9 or something like that. That's a lot of money back then. But do you know what the problem was? I had no idea what I did. And so I just chucked it up and it worked until it stopped. 3 months later, done. Boom. Something changed and I never could figure it out. You know why? It's because I had a cheap mindset. It was the most expensive mistake I ever made, because I didn't get help. If I would have just paid somebody or got some help or even got on a free call with somebody and been like, what did I do? I could have seen what to do, what to change, what to evolve. And I literally blew up, potentially $170,000, $80,000 coaching business. It was fully automated. It was selling ebooks that go to the ClickBank was processing the payments. My VA, who's still with me, Mahul, was dealing with customer service. People lose the link or something like that. He'd send it to them. It was like the greatest business ever. I didn't have to do anything for 3 months. I just made all this money. It was like a dream. And then it all blew up because there were some changes in Google. Done. All right. So all because I was too cheap to get some help and also not even get even free help. So book your call so we can walk you through why it's not working for you, and or walk you through what to do so you do not have to just waste a bunch of money and time figuring this whole thing out. All right. Book your free call. It's 15 minutes, nothing to buy. And, really, watch this video again or whatever, so you can understand this is what's going on. The best days are ahead for coaches who can understand these changes. And you need to realize it's not that complicated. Once you set this up, these ads can run for potentially weeks, if not months in some cases, if you do it right. All right, get to work. Better days are ahead, and go scale your coaching business.